So Australia hammered Sri Lanka, beat them quite convincingly by 7 wickets, and have now gone 2 out of 2 in this T20 World Cup, making a case for the semi-finals. And I'll be talking about this game in detail, in addition to previewing the Pakistan versus Afghanistan game and West Indies versus Bangladesh game, which are both tomorrow on this volume of CRIQAZI Diaries.
Have a look at that, miles up, oh, it's nearly taken someone out of the stands. That was a flat six right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand, up into the members, and it went like a rocket. Well, no wicket for 24.
So Australia won the toss, elected to field, which was the smart decision given that dew comes into play in Dubai around the 10-over mark in the second innings, and Sri Lanka actually started brilliantly with the bat. They took the attack right to the Australian seamers and even neutralized Glenn Maxwell, who was quite successful in the first game. They took him apart for 16 runs in the only over he bowled in the game, and even though Pathum Nissanka fell early to Pat Cummins, Sri Lanka found themselves at 53 for 1 after the power play. Charith Asalanka and Kusal Perera piled on the runs for Sri Lanka in the first half of their batting innings until Pereira was dismissed for 35 of 27 deliveries by an inch-perfect Yorker by Mitchell Starc in the 10th over. Charith Asalanka is a youngster whom Mickey Arthur has rated very highly. He's called him one of the best young batting talents in Sri Lanka. He came out to bat at 1 down and he has seriously impressed me. The range of shots on this 24-year-old is immaculate and he scored a very important 35 in this game. In fact, Sri Lanka were about 80 odd for the loss of 2 wickets at the 10-over mark, and at that point it looked like they would score 170 at least. But that's where Mitchell Starc and Adam Zampa pegged back Sri Lanka big time. I almost got nostalgic watching that second spell from Mitchell Starc, who hasn't had the best of years of late. But watching that spell, he definitely announced to the world that he's far from done. And boy, when he gets it right, it's really scintillating to watch. After yorking Kusal Perera to perfection, Mitchell Starc also removed the in-form Wanindu Hasaranga for 4 runs, and he recorded figures of 2 for 27 in his 4 overs. And it is these kind of performances that Australia requires from their ace seamer. And honestly, if he continues with the same form, well, those are just ominous signs for the rest of the teams, because a red-hot Starc is really hard to negotiate. The pick of the bowlers for Australia, however, was the wily leg spinner Adam Zampa, who's having quite a good T20 World Cup. And even today, he only gave away 12 runs in his 4 overs, picking up 2 valuable wickets and really putting the brakes on the Sri Lankan innings in a man-of-the-match performance. Some late fireworks from the hard-hitting Bhanuka Rajapaksa, who scored 33 of 26 deliveries, took Sri Lanka's total to 154 for the loss of 6 wickets in their 20 overs, and at that time I felt like they were at least 10 to 15 runs short given their solid start. That, however, might have not made much of a difference, as Aaron Finch and David Warner, they brought their A game today and pummeled the Sri Lankan attack all over the park. Lahiru Kumara, who was quite impressive in this T20 World Cup thus far actually, was just absolutely dismantled today by Australia's openers, and so was Dushmantha Chameera, but I feel he got a bit unlucky since Kusal Perera dropped a sitter off his bowling of David Warner, who at that time was only on 18 runs. That drop, I feel, was the turning point of the game, as then David Warner went on to completely silence his critics and end his string of low scores, scoring a monstrous knock of 65 runs off 42 deliveries. Sri Lanka's MVP, leg spinner Wanindu Hasaranga, did fight really hard. He did eventually go on to remove Aaron Finch, who scored a very valuable 37 of 23. And then he removed Glenn Maxwell quite early on, but the damage had already been done. But credit to Hasaranga, even in this game he managed to take 2 wickets for 22 runs in his 4 overs. Thereafter, though, Australia lost no further wickets, and Steve Smith and Marcus Stoinis took the Aussies home with 3 overs to spare, and that will do a world of good to their confidence. And I think it's time we start taking Australia seriously in this T20 World Cup. I didn't give them much of a chance at the start, but they're really proving to be quite that aggressive unit that this Australian team has been known for decades, honestly, and they're always a proper contender. I felt like they weren't quite there in this tournament yet, but given the way Group 1 is progressing, I think they're in for a fair shot for the semi-finals now. On the other hand, I do feel like Sri Lanka's World Cup campaign is far from over. They do have 3 remaining games, of course with sturdy opposition in the West Indies, Sri Lanka and South Africa, but if they play better as a unit, if the batsmen get a few more runs, and if the bowlers deliver, because today the Pacers went for plenty. But we've seen Kumara and Chameera do well in the past. So I do have hope over there. And then there's that partnership between right arm offie Mahesh Theekshana and the leg spinner Wanindu Hasaranga. I feel like if those two click, Sri Lanka can still beat any side in the world. So we'll just have to wait and see how their World Cup progresses. अच्छा जी, आ जाते हैं अफगानिस्तान वर्सेस पाकिस्तान पे. द बिग गेम टुमारो, ग्रुप नंबर 2. और पाकिस्तान के लिए काफी ट्रिकी साबित होगी ये गेम. इट्स नॉट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड बाय एनी स्ट्रेच ऑफ द इमेजिनेशन, क्योंकि अफगानिस्तान इस तरह की टीम है जो अपने दिन पे किसी को भी हरा सकती है, एब्सोल्युटली एनीवन. एंड दे हैव द प्लेयर्स हु कैन सिंगल हैंडेडली विन यू गेम्स. बैटिंग लाइनअप पे उनके पास बहुत बैशर्स हैं, ऑफ कोर्स लेड बाय हजरतुल्लाह जज़ाई, जिनको मैं अफगानी क्रिस गेल कहता हूं. एंड वीव ऑल सीन व्हाट ही कैन डू इन द पीएसएल. पेशावर ज़ल्मी के लिए उन्हें काफी स्कोर किया था, फाइनल तक लेकर गए थे और इन्हीं पिच पे खेल रहे थे. फिर काफी और भी प्लेयर्स हैं उनके पास. मोहम्मद नबी ऑफ कोर्स इज अ स्टेपल, कप्तान है वो, और मैं उनको बहुत हाईली रेट करता हूं वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट में. ही इज अ मैच विनर, कैन प्रूव टू बी विद बैट और बॉल, और फील्डर भी अच्छे हैं वो. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स और भी बैट्समैन हैं इनके पास. मोहम्मद शहजाद जो हैं, ही इज एन एक्सपीरियंस कैंपेनर, काफी देर बाद टीम में आए हैं अफगानिस्तान की, विकेट कीपर भी हैं और वो ओपनिंग में डैमेज कर सकते हैं. एंड देन रहमानुल्लाह गुरबाज एंड नजीबुल्लाह जदरान. We saw just how good they can be when they bashed Scotland all around the park, और 190 स्कोर किया था अफगानिस्तान ने अपनी पिछली गेम में. तो इनके पास डेफिनेटली उस तरह के प्लेयर्स हैं जो पाकिस्तान को काफी मुश्किलें दे सकते हैं. और बॉलिंग में तो आप बात ही ना करें ना, डेफिनेटली द बेस्ट स्पिन अटैक इन दिस T20 वर्ल्ड कप. राशिद खान ऑफ कोर्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एक्सपीरियंस्ड लेग स्पिनर्स in today's white ball game, और मेरे तो ख्याल से बेस्ट है वो as far as spinners are concerned. White ball cricket में राशिद खान takes the cake and you wouldn't find a better leg spinner out there. मुजीबुर रहमान the off spin of course is also highly talented. उनने पिछली गेम में 5 भी लिया है, 5 for 20 लिया था. राशिद ने 4 for 9 लिया था, उखाड़ के रख दिया था स्कॉटलैंड को. तो ये जो दोनों बॉलर्स हैं, इनके खिलाफ पाकिस्तान को काफी वेरी रहना होगा. और फिर नवीन उल हक जो पेसर हैं, he just got like a contract till 2022 or something with Leicestershire. So that guy is also someone who could potentially cause Pakistan troubles. But of course Pakistan has the momentum. इंडिया को हिरा कर आ रहे हैं पहली दफा वर्ल्ड कप में. एक तो उसका ही जो बिलीफ मिला होगा उस गेम से, एक तो वो है. एंड देन न्यूजीलैंड को भी फिर हराना. दोनों सबसे मुश्किल टीम्स को बैक टू बैक हिराकर पाकिस्तान इस गेम में आ रहे हैं. सो आई डू स्टिल थिंक पाकिस्तान आर फेवरेट्स, बट अफगानिस्तान हरा सकती है पाकिस्तान को डेफिनेटली. एक फन फैक्ट बताता चलूं आपको इस मैच से पहले. राशिद खान हैज वन द मोस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ कंसेक्यूटिव T20 इंटरनेशनल्स इन द UAE. 15 पे हैं वो, और नंबर 2 पे टाई है बाबर और इमाद का. देयर बोथ एट 13. तो अगर तो अफगानिस्तान हारती है तो बाबर एंड इमाद विल हैव अ शॉट ऑफ ओवरटेकिंग राशिद खान, और अगर तो अफगानिस्तान जीत जाती है तो राशिद खान अपनी लीड और बढ़ाते जाएंगे. मैच हो रहा है दुबई में, एंड दैट मींस दैट द टॉस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वी हैव सीन इट दस फार. चेजिंग टीम्स को काफी एडवांटेज है वहां पे, बिकॉज ड्यू आ जाती है अराउंड हाफ वे थ्रू द सेकंड इनिंग्स. तो पाकिस्तान को ऑब्वियसली टॉस जीतकर बॉलिंग ही करनी चाहिए. मगर अगर पाकिस्तान की बैटिंग आ भी जाती है, आई थिंक इट्स अ ब्लेसिंग इन डिसगाइज, क्योंकि वो एक डिफरेंट सिचुएशन में टेस्ट होंगे. उनको स्कोर चढ़ाना पड़ेगा और फिर मुश्किल कंडीशंस में डिफेंड करना होगा. एंड इफ पाकिस्तान मैनेज टू डू दैट, काफी कॉन्फिडेंस मिल सकता है उनको. और अगर तो ये होता है, I think 160 पे गेम फंस जाएगी. हो सकती है. I would still back Pakistan to defend 160, but 170 I think would be a safe score. So that's what Pakistan should be looking at. देखें, all in all, even though I would say Pakistan are definitely favorites for this game, जीतना चाहिए पाकिस्तान को ये मैच, I would be wary of this Afghan team, क्योंकि एक तो they're kind of spiritual successors to that previous West Indies team जिन्हें 2 वर्ल्ड कप जीते हैं, क्योंकि ये भी आकर बस छक्के मार रहे होते हैं. Or also the emotions that they're going through with all the turmoil back home. You saw Captain Mohammad Nabi tear up during the national anthem in the previous game. तो ये भी काफी मोटिवेशन के साथ खेल रहे हैं, अपनी मुल्क के लोगों को खुश करना चाहते हैं ये. And honestly, if we lose to Afghanistan, I wouldn't even mind that much, because I want Afghan cricket to do well. And of course, I'd ask all of the fans, please तमीज से रहें. Last time these two teams met in the World Cup, there was a lot of drama और सब लड़ने लग गए थे. So please, let's set a good example this time. But yeah, all the best to both teams. I expect a cracker of a game, and you never know, Afghanistan could pull off an upset over here. Finally, let's talk about Bangladesh versus West Indies. Look, both teams haven't been impressive thus far. दोनों मैच हार गई हैं टीमें at the bottom of Group 1. और ये मैच खासा इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया इसी वजह से, because the loser would practically be out of the T20 World Cup. और वेस्ट इंडीज पे बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर है. डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस हैं, बहुत लोग उनको हाईली Key players for Bangladesh would be Shakib Al Hasan with both bat and ball, and of course Mehdi Hasan as well. He's been impressive with the ball, और spinners लड़ सकते हैं वेस्ट इंडीज को. They are a little weak versus spin. मगर वेस्ट इंडीज के लिए I think एक खुशी की बात ये कि Jason Holder has been drafted in for the injured Obed McCoy, and Jason Holder is a fantastic cricketer regardless of the format. I think bowling में वो उनको added incentive देंगे और बैटिंग भी वो अच्छी कर लेते हैं. सो आई थिंक ही कैन प्रूव टू बी द डिफरेंस टुमारो. बट लेट्स सी, मैं कुछ कहना नहीं चाह रहा वेस्ट इंडीज पे, क्योंकि पिछले मैच में लेंडल सिमंस ने 16 रन किए सिर्फ 35 बॉलों पे, वो ये अकेला मैच हरवा गए. एंड देन द फर्स्ट गेम दे वर बोल्ड आउट फॉर 55. सो 50-50 कहूंगा मैं इस गेम को, और देखते हैं क्या होता है. जाते जाते मैं एक प्लेयर की तारीफ कर दूं, अकील हुसैन, जो लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर हैं वेस्ट इंडीज के. आई थिंक ही इज बीन रियली गुड एंड ही कुड विन द गेम फॉर वेस्ट इंडीज पोटेंशियली, क्योंकि वो दोनों जो गेम वेस्ट इंडीज बुरा खेली है वो अच्छा ही खेल रहे हैं उनके अंदर. एंड क्रिस गेल ने कभी ना कभी तो चलना होता है, तो क्या पता कल चल जाए, अब ये तो वक्त ही बताएगा. That's a wrap for volume 66, folks. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon in order to be notified about all of my latest videos. मुझे आप comment section में बताएं क्या लगता है आपको, कौन सी दो टीमें कल जीतेंगी. Will it be पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान, और वेस्ट इंडीज और बांग्लादेश? और ये भी बताएं कि कौन सी टीमें आपको लगता है दोनों ग्रुप से सेमीफाइनल में पहुंचेंगी. All in the comment section below. I'll catch you tomorrow after both of those exciting games, which I'm really geared up for. But that's all for now, guys. Kazi off the mic.
Have a look at that, smiles up. Oh, it's nearly taken someone out of the stands. That was a flat six right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand, up into the members, and it went like